Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with a hot take on the Woketards. Yes, Antifa still exists, kinda, sorta, maybe. No one's really sure. They're doing their own soccer league now. Yeah, see, the revolution's so important. It was so important to tear everything down, and then suddenly soccer's more important. Isn't that weird? I wonder what happened in early November that made them change their focus. So about 50 Antifa black blocs showed up last night in their inaugural Antifa soccer match in Portland. Teams included long-legged socialist, no justice, no cleats, and others. Okay. Sounds real fun. A bunch of extremists playing soccer. Oh, and Andy also reports the Antifa soccer game in Portland had a table where they gave out extremist literature. Why We Break Windows can be seen as one of the booklets. It argues that destroying businesses is a legitimate act of resistance against capitalism. Yeah, if you're completely brain dead. Because there were businesses in Portland that supported these raging lunatics, and they destroyed them. They begged them, please don't destroy our business, and they did anyway. It's because you can't control a mob. Even the mob can't control the mob. And I mean mob of people, not the mob. Once things get going, anybody can join. You idiots have been infiltrated over and over again. And I don't mean just by the FBI and probably a few CIA guys, but just randos. Just randos who join for the hell of it to break windows and rob people. You're the perfect cover. I'm sure the mob guys joined in too. Why not? It's perfect cover. There's a riot in Portland. Me, for my crew, get together, load up a backpack with our tools, pick out a place to knock over during the riot. Cops aren't coming. It's a perfect plan. Perfect. We bust into the place. First we bust it up. Get a bunch of the idiots to help us bust the windows. And then we go in there completely covered head to toe, smash out all the security, rip out whatever we need to rip out. Yeah, and even let a few of those idiots come in, spread their DNA, let them get caught for the robbery. It's perfect. Perfect plan. They're still easy. I know. You hate them. I don't like them either, John. All right. It's all right. They're not here. They're out in Portland. They're out west. New Jersey, they're a terrorist group. But Andy also reports they will be doing a protest in Chapman Square on New Year's. In solidarity with BLM. Still connected to BLM, huh? BLM. These guys are still throwing your letters around like it means something. No streamers, no megaphones, no masters. Wear black bloc and be water. That's their deal, right? Spread fire, be water. This is Andy's new book, by the way. Unmasked. All about Antifa. I gotta get a copy of this. I should order that. This is really hilarious. The South Bay anti-fascist posted, Andy No is a sad excuse for an Asian. He embarrasses us. We are not fascists. Someone from the triad needs to pay him a, quote, friendly visit. You guys are really barking up the wrong tree. Really. You should not mess. There's none of the organized crime families appreciate any kind of shout out like that. None of them. My advice to you, don't ever do this again. You guys keep this kind of nonsense up, oh, they'll pay somebody a visit. It will be you to shut you up, to shut your fool mouth. Do not mess with these guys. I think Andy is mostly safe. I don't think the triads are going to take orders from Antifa. But they kind of do what they want. And if they want to curb stomp some idiot that called them out on Twitter, they might do that as well. So my advice, South Bay Antifa, is don't ever mention them again. They even use the Chinese letters. You're playing with fire, buddy. That's all I'm saying. Andy also reports another militant has been arrested for a firebombing attack on a Seattle police station. Jeremy Michael Haynes, a.k.a. Naomi Krell, is accused of shielding her comrades with an umbrella while they do Molotov cocktails at the precinct. Yeah, so that's not good. Not good at all, but I told you guys would be going to jail. There's no reason to keep you idiots on the street anymore. You're all going to jail now. Antifa still rioting downtown Portland. You can see the damage. Just F. Lewis and Clark? I don't get that. University Club of Portland? Bank? But wait, there's more. In New York City, this video of the bike thugs, they called them, smashing up a car. See, in New York, they don't even need Antifa. When things fall apart in New York, it just unravels. This is the way it was back in the 70s. This is when street gangs ruled the roost in New York. They had a real problem with street gangs in New York. In certain sections, not the whole place. But and then way back, during the gangs of New York days, they had a real problem too. So this is what happens when the police don't go out. And these are just like teenagers. It hasn't even gotten, well, I mean, it has gotten bad, but it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. But, that's de Blasio's New York. You're welcome to it. I wouldn't set foot in New York anymore. But here's a breaking story. This is great. Reports of police moving in on Antifa hotel occupation near Seattle. See, you thought they would keep letting you guys get away with this kind of behavior. They're not. There's no reason to allow you idiots to keep doing what you're doing anymore. Biden's elected. You have served your purpose, and now you will go away. So the guys in Antifa occupied this travel lodge for I don't know how many weeks. And then they decided they were all not going to pay. That the city would pay for them. Now apparently they're being arrested. Let's see. Fife police are on site at the travel lodge in Fife, Washington, near Tacoma, where Antifa activists have been illegally squatting since Christmas Day. Oh, it hadn't been that long. I thought it was longer than that. Let's see. Cops are breaking the doors open. Cops are on site blocking us in and have PPE and zip ties. We believe arrests are about to happen. Yeah, I think so. 1:30 p.m., Fife police released a statement on the events of the day below. Let's see what happened. They went to the travel lodge to issue a deal with a group that was illegally occupying rooms they did not pay for. While this group's cause, providing homes and wraparound services for the homeless, was worthy and noble, doesn't matter. Their actions victimized a local business owner. They created a situation. See, they shouldn't even be justifying that. They shouldn't even be putting that sentence in. That's the intimidation of Antifa right there. It has nothing to do with why they were doing what they were doing. They were doing something illegal. That's the only thing we need to know. They created a situation where the business owner was at risk of going out of business and having to lay off 10 employees. This group potentially exposed each other, staff members, and others to beer virus. The group's actions and the means they used to achieve the goals was criminal in nature and completely unacceptable in the city of Fife. Good. Due to beer virus pandemic, lack of jail beds, and issues with booking people into jail, the Fife Police Department, in consultation with their city attorney and city manager, drafted a police response regarding unwanted subject at the hotel. The procedure was established prior to the governor's order carrying out the memorandum on evictims. We adjusted our response procedure accordingly. At this time of this event, the procedure was for officers to respond to the scene and ask for voluntary compliance? What? Voluntary compliance to leave the premise if this person was at the motel for less than 14 days. If the subject refused to leave, the officer would issue the subject a criminal citation for trespass, but would not use force to effect an arrest. You gotta be kidding me. The purpose was to refrain from escalating incidents necessitating the use of force. Yeah, imagine you're that travel lodge owner. So in other words, you went there, you gave him a stern talking to, gave him some pieces of paper, and that's it? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Early on the morning of this was like over a couple of days. Early on the morning of 12/28, City of Fife leadership believed it was likely we could resolve the issues peacefully without confrontation or arrest. On 12/30, at approximately 1100 hours, members of the police department responded to the travel lodge. I'm pleased to report that all subjects illegally occupying the travel lodge have voluntarily left the site. Oh, well, it's good you didn't have to do your jobs. And he didn't get his money, I assume. It's unbelievable. This may your town never turned into Fife with the wimpy cops. And finally, Zero Hedge says, it is interesting how violent riots of 2020 ended right after the election. Well, not totally, but mostly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems that, it's got a whole rundown of the various riots and the things that happened. I think the problem with most of the riots was they weren't contained to begin with, and this allowed things to fester. If you had pounced on the first people who rioted, and I don't mean the protesters, I mean the rioters. There's a difference between protesting. If you go downtown, you wave a sign, you block traffic, that's protesting, okay? You know, you get a citation, you're on your way. Maybe you get pulled out of the street, whatever. But people throwing fireworks, people smashing windows, no. Those are rioters, and they go to jail. These DAs who won't prosecute people, I hope the rioters one day make it to their neighborhoods. Not that they will. Not that these people would care if they did. But I bet they would care if they end up at their house. I bet on that day it'll suddenly be like, oh! Just like, what was it, the mayor of Portland, I think? No, wait, is that Ted Wheeler? No, mayor of Seattle. Yeah, Jenny Durkin. Yeah, when they ended up at her house, it was a whole different deal, wasn't it, Jenny? Ooh, then it was terrible. Then it was suddenly not the summer of love. You know, and it's real simple. You know, the cops come, and you got to listen to them. That's the deal, you know. And these are socialists. All these guys are socialist and communist. They believe in the power of the state, the power of the collective. Well, we elected representatives, and they hired the cops, you morons. So, if you don't want them to do that, you have to elect other people who have other visions of how to run things, which you don't do. because you just keep electing leftists. And all they know how to do is give the state more power. So you could elect some right-wing guys. They might give you a sheriff and deputies, which is a different kind of policing. They wouldn't have as many guys. The sheriff would be elected. You could choose to vote him in or vote him out. You could also choose to run in your local elections and change the local laws. None of this appeals to these people because that requires work. Smashing a window doesn't require that much work. And it's fun. So it's not fun. These people aren't interested. Plus, they're all out-of-work idiots that have been cheered on by various groups. Mostly Democratic groups. Yeah, I'm saying it. It's not a conspiracy theory anymore. I mean, why do you think these guys pretty much stopped rioting at the end of the election? That was the whole point. Now they're all going to jail. Useful idiots. Bye-bye. I, for one, will not miss you. So when you're sitting in that cell, wondering why Joe Biden hasn't written you a pardon, remember who put you there. It wasn't Donald Trump.